guys, what's up? Vero here. So if you can't tell by the background or the header title thing, we're going to be talking about some Legion. So what I wanted to do in this video is kind of discuss Legion raiding, whether or not I'm going to be participating, and kind of just in general. But before I get started, I wanted to kind of give a little bit of background history type thing of raiding. I don't want to make this like super long. Oh, and I have the hiccups. I don't want to make this super long just because there are videos on my channel that go over my history and raiding. If you want to go check it out, you can. And we'll just kind of my World of Warcraft history in general, but this is kind of more specific to raiding, so I'm just going to kind of give a brief history. I did not start raiding until Wrath of the Lich King when I hit level cap, although I did play in BC. I started as Feral, I did 10 and 25 man, and then I learned Resto, I also learned how to tank, I also learned Boomkin, I did all sorts of druid things. And then in the next expansion in Kata, I mostly played Boomkin in a guild that I was raiding with, and I did an off-spec of Resto. We mostly focused on heroics. I think we got like a little over halfway through Dragon Soul before we called it quits, just because people were kind of burned out. Then in Mr. Pandaria, I ended up raiding actually as a Arcane and Frost Mage for a little bit, and then realized I hated DPSing and I ended up healing. I also ended up actually leveling a Disc Priest and a Holy Paladin during Dragon Soul times, and I did though like alt runs and stuff on those. So in Mr. Pandaria, I ended up swapping to a Disc Priest, leveled a second Priest, raided on her, did normals, then did heroics, ended up finding a guild to raid with Alliance side where we cleared all of heroic content for Siege of Orgrimmar, including Mr. Garrosh, and then we did it all again on Mythic. And then after that, I kind of finished raiding and did way too much Siege of Orgrimmar in that expansion. Warlords of Draenor came out. I did a little bit of Mythic raiding in the beginning, and then I realized I didn't want to raid anymore. So here we are. So now that we have an official date of when Legion is coming out, which is August 30th, in case you've been living under a rock and or maybe just haven't been paying attention to WoW news, you know, we have a date now, and I've been kind of going back and forth on whether or not I want to raid. If you follow me on Twitter, there's been a couple days where I've tweeted, man, I kind of want to find a guild to raid with. And the more I think about it, the more I realize it's more of a nostalgia thing or something. There have been some guilds that I've raided with that have been some of the best people that I've ever raided with. It was so much fun. I loved the guild that I raided with in the beginning of Warlord / end of Mr. Pandaria. I got along with a lot of these people, we cracked jokes, we had fun, but we also killed bosses and cleared content for the most part. But Warlords was kind of a hard time for a lot of guilds because a lot of people were quitting because they just didn't like the expansion. I was one of them, which is why I think I ended up quitting in January, like late January, mid-January, sometime after my birthday. My birthday is January 17th for reference, and that was just a few months after the expansion came out. So I've been kind of toying with the idea of finding a guild before Legion drops, kind of establishing myself in a guild, finding a guild that I can raid with, either on my Druid or Priest. I don't really have a preference. I enjoy raiding on both, although I probably prefer Priest. I don't know why, I just really like raiding as a Disc Priest, even though no one else likes you. But I can deal with that. And I've thought about I've looked a little bit, I thought about applying to a couple guilds, but then I realized that I was more into the idea of finding a guild to raid with than actually raid with them. Like, I was more in love with the idea of finding a group of people to raid with, a group of people that I could clear content with and have fun with, and because raiding is some of the most fun that I've had in World of Warcraft, but it's also sometimes been the most boring that I've had, or the most boring time that I've had in World of Warcraft, just because sometimes content lasts way too long, looking at you, Blizzard, and sometimes it can just be really, really boring. Now, I'm not completely saying, you know, I'm not going to raid in Legion, I'm just going to maybe do some LFR every once in a while, but I'm mostly going to focus on PvP. That is technically the idea, but if I did manage to somehow magically find a guild that I think I would get along with, that I could raid with, that was doing above, like, normal content, then, you know, aka Mythic, because I don't think I could raid below Mythic anymore. And I'm not trying to be like elitist or like, oh, I'm too good for anything that's below Mythic. That's just what I would prefer to do. I prefer to do something that's a little bit more challenging. Not that I'm saying, you know, anyone that does anything below Mythic doesn't want to be challenged. Like, some people just want to do the regular content, and that's totally fine. Some people maybe can't put in the hours to do Mythic. Some people can do Mythic and put in very few hours. Like, it's all very dependent on each person. For me personally, I prefer to do the, like, quote-unquote harder content because I find it more enjoyable, I guess. Because I am willing to put in the hours if it's needed. Because again, it depends on what guild you raid with. Some guilds only raid a few hours a week and can clear Mythic, and some guilds raid 5 days a week and they clear Mythic. You know, it's dependent on the person and dependent on the guild. So I do think if I found a guild that needed a disc priest that raided at a time that I could raid, which I could really technically raid at any time because my job is completely flexible and I just work when I want, then I would consider raiding again in Legion. However, I don't foresee this happening, which is okay. I would like for it to happen, but I'm afraid that I would end up joining a guild, raiding, and then being like, bleh. But who knows what the future holds? I don't know. You don't know. Maybe you're psychic. Maybe you do know. I don't know. But I don't know. If a guild falls into my lap somehow magically, I will probably raid. If it does not fall into my lap, or I don't just somehow come across a guild to raid with, I probably won't raid, because I really do want a PvP. I really want to find an RBG group. I really want to find people that want to do threes and do arenas and PvP and have fun and stuff. And I have high hopes for this expansion, but I also have realistic expectations for this expansion, given, you know, the current expansion. So we'll see. But basically, in short, I might raid, I might not. Currently, no. But you never know what happens. So, yeah. Thanks so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up. I put out new videos every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and sometimes bonus videos sprinkled throughout the week. Let me know in the comment section below if you plan on raiding in Legion. Are you still actually raiding in Warlords of Draenor? And if you're not planning to do either, what are you going to be doing in Legion? For me personally, I'm going to try and focus on gold making before the expansion drops, and then try and do some gold making when it drops. And I'm probably going to try and level alts, try to get into that, and I'm really bad at leveling those, so we'll see. I also mostly just want a PvP on my priest and my druid, and then I thought about maybe leveling my warrior as well. So that's kind of what I hope for Legion, but we'll see. You never know, things can change. But thank you so much for watching this video again, and I will catch you guys later. Bye!